Hey, men. This is Ryan. I just wanted to go over a couple of things for life groups that have been on my heart. I've been calling many of you this week. First of all, thank you for what you're doing. It has been amazing hearing the great reports of what God is doing in your groups. We are growing. Discipleship is starting to happen. Community is coming together, and we are moving. We are advancing the kingdom. So I'm super pumped. I have two quick things I want to go over that I called many of you guys this week. I didn't get to call everyone. The first one is we talked about when I called you is one, find your Timothy. And I'm just going to show you guys this document real quick. It says in 2 Timothy 2:2, Paul tells Timothy, he says, entrust to reliable men what I have taught you. And the reason why we want to do this is it's one thing for life groups to build community, and that's important, to build camaraderie, there's discipleship that does happen in our life groups, but only to an extent. God has called us not just to build community, he's called us to make disciples with these life groups. So I want to encourage you, find your Timothy. And the reason why I say that is if you find your Timothy, whether it's an assistant leader or someone that's just really hungry in your group, if you find that person and you disciple them, let's say it's going through the one-to-one book for 6 weeks, 6 30-minute sessions, or if you want to go as deep as going into the purple book, either one of those, if we can take that and train up a Timothy, that Timothy in our group they can go out and start making disciples, leading others through the one-to-one. And that Timothy can be the guy in your group that helps you make the touch points on a weekly basis. So I want to really encourage you to do this. Community brings us together, but discipleship keeps us together by rooting us in. And this is essential. Your group is going to flourish as guys start to get discipled in your group, not just going through discussion questions, which are great, and that is part of discipleship, but we need the one-on-one aspect to really grow discipleship in our groups. That doesn't mean you have to disciple every guy in your group. It's finding the one Timothy and then getting him to do the same, and finding other guys in your group, him finding other guys in your group and actually sowing into them. That's how discipleship is going to happen. We have to replicate ourselves. We have to reproduce ourselves. The second thing I want to talk about is touch points. This is a great thing to. It's just really important that you understand the goal of touch points and why we want to do this. First of all, our goal for touch points is to shepherd the flock. It's not just so that we can see who's at life group or see who's being called or being touch base with. This is really to shepherd the flock, and there's recording the touch points helps us at the leaders at South Point know if we are being good stewards, and this is done in two ways. First of all, it shows if we are equipping correctly you guys for the work of the ministry. If there's no touch points being recorded and we see that no one's being called, then that's my fault. I haven't trained you guys, or we haven't trained you guys how to go outside of life group and actually make a connection with these guys. Some of you guys are amazing with this. You've been doing this for a long time, so this is easy for you. Others of you are new to life groups, and you got to get in a rhythm. You got to figure this whole thing out, and we're here to help you grow in that and equip you on making those touch points. The second thing it does for the stewardship is it shows if we are taking care of the people. So not only if we're equipping you, we want to make sure that we're taking care of the people at South Point, that as a whole, we're doing a good job of connecting with them, discipling them, sowing into them, and they're connected to the groups through those touch points. I want to make a few quick notes on touch points. First of all, keep it organic. Don't ever make this a checklist just because I tell you to do it, or Pastor Jason told you to do it last year, or if my dad tells you to do it, or anyone. Don't treat it as a checklist. Keep it organic. And one way you can do that is pray before you actually make the touch point. And just as a side note, never say, for example, Pastor Jason or Pastor Ryan or Pastor Russ is making me do this. That's going to make that person not, they're going to feel like, okay, this is just, you're just putting me on the list to get me, you call me and get it off the list and get done. That's not the point. We want to show these men that we love them, that we care for them. This needs to come from your heart. It needs to come from something inside of you where they see, man, he really cares for me. He really loves my life group. My life group leader really loves me and really wants me to flourish and excel in this group, in this life, in my relationship with Jesus. So that's what we want them to feel. Another thing is there are multiple ways to make touch points. Calling, we tell everyone to call for one touch point a day. You don't have to do it that way if you don't like it that way. That's the easiest for me, because when I'm driving home from work, I can always make 1 3 to 5 minute call where I check up on someone and I pray for them right there. And then that way I take that and I pray for that prayer point throughout the week as I'm calling their names out. I know exactly what to be praying about. So that's a great way to do a touch point. I think it's the best to stay consistent. But there's a bunch of other ways. You can meet them one-on-one for coffee. You can have them over for dinner. You could have a barbecue at your house. You could have them over to watch the Jags game together. There's so many. Monday Night Football. Brian O'Hare was talking about doing Monday Night Football at his house to bring touch point. All those are great, as long as you're making a connection one-on-one with guys, or even with the guys in a more intimate relationship outside of your small group. It's just going to bring so much more love, and it's going to teach us, all of us, how to be better shepherds. As far as texts are great for your life group. I encourage you to send out verses, send out encouraging one-on-one texts, but texts aren't great for touch points because they don't create conversation. They don't create dialogue. Dialogue is important when you can hear the tone, when you can feel their presence. That's really important. So I want to encourage you. You can do that, but don't do only that. You're not going to get much out of it. And then lastly, I already mentioned this, but use your touch points to pray for your men throughout the week. This is really getting a heart of the shepherd, just like Jesus told Peter in John chapter, at the very end of John in John chapter 20, I believe, he tells Peter, he says, feed my sheep. If we can get a shepherd's heart like Peter had, and have that heart and like Jesus has to feed the sheep, we are going to create the best life groups we have ever seen. And these men are going to get rooted. They're going to be established. They're going to be grounded, and the church is going to absolutely flourish. So those 2 points: find your Timothy, continue to be faithful in your touch points, and keep it organic. Thank you, men, so much for your time. I really appreciate all that you do. And I hope that you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you guys on Sunday.